Okay, welcome to day 362. No. Yes? Yeah. Sure. 362. Seems about right. Anyways, I painted just my thumbnails to be green because I went, you know what's fun? Painting my fingernail. So I painted it green because I was left alone for too long, and apparently I can't focus when I'm alone, so I decided to paint my fingernail. Yeah, I was supposed to clean up, but instead I painted my fingernail. Yeah. I don't know if I like this angle. I think there's a reason I do it the other way. Well, it is what it is. You can't see anything in my background. He's a dinosaur that was on my birthday card, but now he's there on my wine box. Don't have wine in there. I should put one of my wine in there. Yeah, I have a full appointment today, or yesterday, today, tomorrow, the day after. My hand hurts. And then the thing is, then it's over. There's no day that it isn't busy left. It's all business. It's all doing things. Why does my face look so uneven? I don't know. I think my hand hurts. That's what I think. Anyway, I'm going to actually watch the thing. Can I hold this for 57? How long is this video? 16 more minutes. No. Okay, that works. I should email to get my tattoo. I think that would be a really fun thing to do. Have it at least in the, sorry, I realize I'm slouching a lot, in the rotation of getting done by this being over, because I haven't got a tattoo at all this year, and I really wanted one. This also isn't great for my hand, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I don't know why. I think it's because everything else is set up different. Set up different. So, anyways, look. It's green. Yeah. One sec. I read the worst snippet of a book. It was awful. It got an award for being so bad. And I don't know, man, how people mess up that badly to have such, like, I don't know. These people were like, oh, it's a run-on sentence. It's confusing. And usually when people say that, I can understand it. But was it, like, so I understood. People were like, I don't understand what's going on. When you read it in full context, you can figure out what was happening. The snippet really didn't do that any justice. But reading the whole snippet, I could easily figure out like, oh my, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But transphobic. He clearly had some fantasies going on that he wanted to figure out and didn't. It was a sex scene, so really is telling. I think he really wanted certain fantasies explored. Don't mention almost shitting yourself when writing a sex scene. It's like, it feels like I'm just pretty much shit myself, but it was actually her tongue or whatever. And I'm like, that is the worst writing ever. To be fair, I don't read a lot of sex scenes. I'm not an avid romantic, I guess they call it romance, right? I'm not a really big romance. She got a slit in my eyebrow. I thought that was a lag of hair there. She got a slit in my eyebrow. I wonder if my sister would do that for me. Anyways. And, so I don't read it. That kind of thing very often, like romance in general. But especially with sex scenes, it's just not what I do. But the idea of that being as bad as it is, I never expected it. And yeah, it had an award for being the worst written scene, and I think it was 2005. Yeah, for a reason. It was a complete run-on sentence, like continuing, and then some parts I still just don't get the reference, I guess, and then some things just were never explained, which was really odd. The guy got pegged, and then he's like, oh my god, this chick's a dude. I'm like, that's transphobic. But also clearly the character was into it, which if he was writing from himself, he clearly might want that, or to try it, and then having it be wanting to try that, but then also like it never explains what it was. It's just like, oh, she must have prepared it in advance. And I was like, prepared what in advance? You don't explain. You just call it it. The reader never finds out what it was that he was getting pegged with. It just was it. Bigger than a finger. I guess it's the size of a dick. It never explains. But again, I don't read a lot of that, so maybe that happens. But it did get an award, so, for being so bad. Anyways, yeah, I don't know, man. It was so bad. That whole scene was so bad. And the thing is, I don't think I read enough books to start committing myself to reading bad ones. Like, I watch TV shows and movies enough to know what I like and don't like, and when I don't like something, I can usually pinpoint what it is I don't like. But when it comes to books, I don't know if I'm advanced enough to tell you what it is. If it's just like, I don't know if I love that. But then in this, there's not much that I can tell you I like. Yeah. It wasn't good. Because, like, the thing is, there was there was a lot of things I didn't like about the first Witcher book. It's the only Witcher book I read, but it, I think, was supposed to be kind of proving that, like, hey, you as a guy can change your mind on something, or figure out more, learn more about situations, and respect people, and a lot of things like this, where neutral is not a picking no side or picking the correct side. You actually have to actively be for one side or another for you to have taken a side, but taking no side is deciding that they're equally the same. And this is a really big thing that I completely agree with. But the issue is, I don't think I can name 2 women characters that were not being, in some way, shape, or form, sexually harassed or assaulted at some point in the novel. Did Yennefer ever? Yeah, I think. I thought Yennefer also. She was totally sexualized. But that doesn't necessarily equal bad. But, I think the only ones. I think there was, if I remember correctly, from the moment I started recording it, I think there was only ever one woman character that her breasts were not described or emphasized in any way, shape, or form. It's like men, stature, basic look, weapons. Women, stature, clothing, boobies, and I'm like, and it's just like, even the ones that are like it's supposed to be very young, they say like a young girl, still describe her boobs. The Strega, she forms into a naked 12 year old, and they describe her boobs as ugly and triangle, but Geralt isn't judging. And I'm like, don't write it. Just don't. Like, she's a child. And anyways, I talked about this enough. I went off a little tangent probably at the beginning of this channel about it. God, it was not great. Probably multiple. But the point is that some of the things that I don't agree with is because it was also very much woke or political stance in the 80s versus now. I'm very 80s from the Europe versus here, and so so I barely know enough history of books and history of politics and history of the situation and the book and tropes and all that enough to talk about it, versus I've seen plenty of TV and movies and all this that I feel more comfortable kind of being able to explain it, especially if it is modern. So reading really, really bad books, I don't know if I would have the knowledge of how to complain about it versus other things. But yeah, God, I was watching Taskmaster, I think season 5, obviously in the UK version, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because of the video I'm watching. So what happened is they wanted to make splatter, so I think they both got yogurt, but at least one team got yogurt and splattered yogurt on the other person. One of them decided to get balloons, throw it, have them hopefully pop. but they decided one of them would be yellow and maybe full of, I assume, they never said it wasn't full of pee. So everyone was like, oh god, and I'm like, I watched this for a year now. I'm desensitized, man. Come back when it's a worse, you know what I'm saying? Like, been dealing with this, man, for a year. I'm apparently desensitized. It was not good. Yeah, they even lost, spoilers, they lost that task. They got less points than the other team. So, yeah. I really hurt my finger. Yeah. I went to Animal Crossing. And I went to the cafe with Brewster. And they're like, drink it when it's hot. And I go, no, 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 too hot. And he's like, drink it. I'm like, no, no, no. He's like, drink it. I'm like, no. And I kept doing that until I wanted him to snap. I think it was like 20 times. And he just never said anything. I'm hoping he'd be like, just drink it. But he didn't say anything. But it was so funny because he just stares at you. Just with just the text dialogue, just being dot, dot, dot. Dot, 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 dot. Dot, 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 dot. And I'm just like, just letting it chill. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. And it was very funny. So I did that twice. Because the first time I didn't go 20, I accidentally clicked drink it instead. So I wanted to go 20, like 10 or 20 times to see if it reacts. And after 10, I continued doing it, I think, to like 20-ish. I wasn't fully keeping track. It was kind of like, yeah, 1, 2, sure. But it was very funny. It was also one of my villagers' birthday. So I went to their place, and I was like, yay, happy birthday. I moved around some people's houses, because the problem is, I want to move them from here to here. To do that, the previous house has to be gone, so I have to move it here to here, and back again. Yeah, so I moved one house, which was fine, and then I moved the next one to here. So tomorrow I'm going to move it back to here. It's a very busy week, redecorating my island, trying to get sugarcane for my island, 2 doctor's appointments this week, 2 doctor's appointments next week, 3 next week, and you know, saying goodbye to this. Dinosaur with a little hat.